So thankfully, our leadership has made innovation one of the central components of our culture at Boehringer Ingelheim, and something that we've been organizing ourselves around over the past decade. I think it's important to consider innovation like they do as a continuum, as a journey that we're traveling along. And it's not always a straight road. Sometimes it has bends and potholes and bumps, a little bit like any city that we live in. But what I want to do is share my quick, easy-to-remember 4-point guide for how to do innovation in a large organization. So number 1, create a beautiful vision of the future. And I'll tell you one of the ways that we did this at Boehringer Ingelheim. Number 2, once you've created that beautiful vision, give it away. Don't hold on to it, but give it away. Firstly, no one's going to believe you anyway when you talk to them. You're just one of the people who work for the company. If some consultant comes in and talks to the brand manager or your upper management about it, they might believe them. But the more people who can reinforce your vision, the better. 2, seduce your management. I don't mean like buy them chocolates and champagne, though that might help with some of them. I mean, sell them the vision, tell them the story, get them on your side, get it so they have your back and they believe you. And finally, execute it. Execute it like an unstoppable juggernaut and execute it quickly. Because the more success you get, the harder it gets. Because the more people want to get involved, and then the more it becomes innovation by committee. So how did we create our beautiful vision? Well, it all started off in a meeting with, it had various country managers and our board of directors there. And we were looking at various digital strategies that different countries were implementing. And every time something was mentioned, somebody else had already done it. And we have a disruptive guy on the board, and he stood up and he goes, "Look, guys, I'm sick of this. You know, we're always chasing a tail. We're always a follower. I want to be one of the first people to do it. Right, I want you to go out there, and I want you to tell me what's happening in the next 10 years in digital. You, digital guy, do it." And I looked at him and I said, I don't know what's happening. 10 years? What? I haven't got a crystal ball. You want to hack the future? And he said, yeah, go away, hack the future, and tell me what's happening. Now, I'm not clever enough to be able to do this and tell you what's happening in the next 10 years. But I figured there are some people out there who might be clever enough. So I gathered them together. I got some entrepreneurs who'd made £1 million when they were 16 years old. I got the guy who set up the first online pharmacy in the UK. I got a futurologist whose job it is to look at trends and predict the future. I got some gaming people who do social gaming. I got some old branding people from Saatchi & Saatchi and some other big agencies. And I gathered together some people who were experts in investments and payer marketing and some doctors. And we got together, we all sat together in this beautiful place in Iceland, and we got an innovation company called What If, and we started dreaming and imagining about what could happen in the next 10 years in digital. And we came up with this beautiful vision, this roadmap of 12 future forces of things that we thought the future would look like in digital. And then we applied that to healthcare, and then we sent everyone home, and then we applied that to Boehringer. And what we created was this lovely vision, this roadmap, if you like, that everybody kind of bought into. And then we took it back to BI, and we introduced it to all the country managers and all the medical directors, and everyone got excited about it and said, yeah, this is what the future is going to look like. And that was it. That was the moment, and that was the vision. Because then we had a roadmap, and then we could say, okay, these are the steps that we need to get there. So we didn't need to say, okay, what's the ROI of social media? What's the return on investment on those tweets that you're doing? It was one step in a bigger picture, in a longer journey. So this led pretty much to our engagement in social media. Since then, we've opened up Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all the other channels and so forth. And that's fairly well documented in the press. And I've spoken about that before. But why we invest in social media, especially in light of the J&J's recent publicity around closing down the Psoriasis 360 pages, which I think was a shame. Well, one, I think that digital can unlock some of the challenges that we face as an industry. I think we need to attract the right talent into the industry. And we need to do that, we need the right tools to do it. And Facebook and Twitter and the rest of them are the right tools to engage with those sorts of people. And that's one of the reasons why on our Facebook page we have a lot of future-looking content, which we call The Future Just Happened. I believe that engagement with all stakeholders is really important and getting more and more important, especially with patients. And I believe that regulations in Europe are quite restrictive. I don't think they're necessarily in the best interests of all patients, especially e-patients who are demanding more and more information, and we're finding it quite hard to give it to them. But bear in mind as well that in the US, where you have a bit more freedom to disclose information, the costs of healthcare are a lot higher, especially for a patient with chronic diseases, so it's not all bad. I believe it's becoming increasingly more important that we understand our customers, and social media and digital are one of the ways in which we can do this. And I believe that the opportunities in social media are as yet untapped, and it's one of the reasons why we're experimenting with new promotional channels such as gaming. And it's one of the reasons why I'm working with people like Marc Monsieur from ex-J&J to look at social media as a customer service point. It's really important as well that once you do social media, you disperse that throughout the company, and you start spreading that as a culture in your company. And we've done that fairly successfully at BI. We've opened up some pretty innovative campaigns over the last year or so. Some of them are here. We had the Drive for COPD campaign in the US, which COPD is quite a tricky disease to manage from a pharma company point of view. It's undiagnosed and it often doesn't show until later on in life. But it's very important that if you can detect it early, you can slow the rate of progression of the disease. So the challenge is, how do you get those people to present early? Well, one of the ways we did it is we used celebrity and social media and digital to drive online diagnosis through an online questionnaire. And we were fairly successful with this, and we managed to get 2.5 million online diagnoses, which we were overwhelmed, really, really happy with. Another way that we used social media was with One Mission, 1 Million, where we felt that our new anticoagulant could save up to stop 1 million strokes if it was used properly. So we dedicated €1 million to people who could show the link between an irregular heartbeat and stroke. And what we asked for is come up with great ideas to raise awareness around that. We had lots of projects coming in, and then we used a voting mechanism. We opened it up and we said, anyone who votes, tell us what the best idea is here. And the ones who got the most votes, they got the money. And we had over 2 million votes on those ideas. And that was all driven, a lot of that was driven through Facebook and through Twitter engagement. And finally, we've done something called the White Room in Oncology, which is a really nice media resource full of infographics and movie clips, and we tweet about it. And that's really like an online media academy for oncology. It's also why we're working with some very interesting people. Innovation is a continuum. It flows right from our leadership team right the way through our brand teams. It goes through our strategy, and it comes out and it expresses itself through the partnerships that we have with some of our vendors and some of our consultants. So we don't want to cling on to it too tightly. We want to share it as much as we can, because we believe that to make Boehringer a world-class innovator, we need to inspire everyone around us as well.